Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another 2024 horror film review. This is a film from last year that's just had a Blu-ray release, and it's called Oddity, and this was a Shudder film, I believe. Oddity. It's a very odd film, but oddly enough it's amazing. It's such a cool film. It's a very strange concept of a story, but very intriguing and original. We meet Darcy, and is like one of the main characters in the film, who's a blind woman who owns this sort of antique curiosity shop. But before we get on to Darcy, the film starts off with this woman who is in this like house. It's like a very it's like a house conversion. They're being done up, and she's staying in a tent inside the house while they're converting her house. And she's on the phone to her husband, who's a doctor in a mental asylum. Anyway, she's at the house, sort of like doing a few jobs, fixing a few things, because obviously they're doing the house up as they go along. And she has a camera that keeps going off all the time. And this woman living in the house is the sister of Darcy, who's the woman that owns the antique shop. And we're there one night, and she hears a noise outside. And she's gone to the car to get her phone, but she can't find it. And she goes back into the house, and she hears a noise outside. And the door's got like a little hatch on it. And she opens it, and we meet a guy at the door. And he is sort of blinded in one eye. He's got one sort of false eye in one eye, and he's got his normal eye in his other eye. And he's asking her to let him in because somebody's gone into the house. And she says, well, she's very reluctant to want to let him in. But he swears that someone has gone in her house while she was turned around at the car trying to find her phone. Someone sneaked in the house. So she doesn't really believe it. Well, you wouldn't, would you? She doesn't know who he is, whoever. But we find out that he's actually a patient, an ex-patient of the doctor, who is her husband of the mental asylum, and he's turned up at the house. So we're kind of thinking, oh, is he just trying to get in to sort of like harm her or kill her or something like this? But she starts to come round a little bit because she hears noises, and we hear noises around the house going on. But nothing sort of like established at this point. And then the film sort of weirdly cuts back to the asylum, where we see all these sort of like, we see another patient who's been doing drawings of this guy with a blind eye and all this sort of thing. And we just see this sort of like weird things going on. And we then see the doctor visiting Darcy at her shop. Because what's happening now, we've gone into the future a little bit. I didn't know until the story sort of explains as it comes along. The woman in the house has been murdered. And so Darcy she's got this sort of psychic ability of, if she holds something that belongs to someone, she can tell you everything about that person or what's happened. And he's took along because one of the things that have remained from this other murder at the house, the guy at the door, who's the ex-patient, is also dead, and he's got his false eye. And so it's all been believed that this patient has killed the doctor's wife. So Darcy holds the eye and discovers it wasn't him that killed his wife. It's someone else. So he was right. There was someone else in the house. And she's very upset, Darcy, because her sister's ex-husband, the doctor, I think his name's Ted Timmers or something, Dr. Timmers, and he's already got a new girlfriend, and he's sort of moved her in a bit, And she doesn't like being there either because she feels uncomfortable because she keeps visualizing and seeing things. She thinks she's seeing his ex-wife there, like a ghost of her. It's a very mixed up story, but it's very, very good. It really unfolds really well. And we keep having jump backs, flashbacks when we see Darcy, because Darcy flashes back to the house bit where her sister was, and the guy was there. The guy that they thought was the killer. We keep getting flashbacks to it, so we sort of see bit by bit what's actually happened as the film progresses on. And she turns up at the house, Darcy, to meet his new girlfriend and things like this. And his new girlfriend is not very nice. She's very sharp, but she's very strange as Darcy. She sends uh, a wooden crate as a gift to Dr. Timmis, and inside this crate is a wooden doll, a life-size sort of mannequin. And it's a very creepy looking doll because it's made of wood, and it just looks like wood, but it's got its mouth wide open, and it looks really freaky and scary. And Darcy tells the doctor's new girlfriend that it was a gift from his mother. It used to belong to her mother, who was given it from a witch years ago. And anyway, so all these weird and bizarre things happen. I don't want to tell you no more because I really want you to watch it to find out what goes on in the film, because oddly enough, it was incredible. It was such a good film. I saw this when I was down in Stevenage with my lad. That I saw the Blu-ray and I really wanted to pick it up. I don't know why. It just sort of jumped out to me. That's Darcy there, the blind sister. It just really sort of creeped me out, the thought of the story, because I've been sort of like reading little synopsises of the film, just because I knew it was a horror film from last year, and I do try to get through as many of them as I can. And this one was very quite supernaturally intriguing, and and I just thought, wow, this sounds something like it's either going to be absolutely amazing or it's going to be so out there that I'm not going to understand it. And it took me a little while for when you start sick when Darcy starts telling you a few things, when you find out she's the sister of the woman that's been murdered, and that she's got this ability of sort of like seeing things, then all falls into place. And we meet some wonderful characters in this film. There's some inpatients at the hospital that are very, very bizarre. There's a guard that works there. He's very strange and very mean, very suspicious as well. And it's like, and all these questions open up to you, like, why is this patient that's being released? Why has he gone to the doctor's house? How comes he knew the doctor lived there? All this sort of thing. And it all sort of unfolds really, really well. And there's some really creepy bits in the film. It is really creepy. I had a couple of jumps in it as well as a couple of really good jump scares in the film. And it's really, really well filmed. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely loved it. I'm going to score this an amazing watch and give it a 9 out of 10. It was absolutely fantastic. The pluses of this edition: the film looks wonderful. Yes, it's only Blu-ray, but it looks absolutely fantastic. I believe it's an Irish horror film, so and it's really, really cool. I don't know any of the sort of stars, that's their names. I don't know them. They're all new to me. I've not seen them, but don't think of anything previous. But it's an Irish film, um, and it's just absolutely wonderful. Really, really cool. And it's just one of those films that I think I'm going to watch this again because I enjoyed it so much. I want to see if I can unfold a bit more in my brain of collaborating these stories and to find out what's going on, because I loved all these little things that Darcy was saying about, like this wooden mannequin doll being from a witch. And I was really intrigued when the doctor's new girlfriend was seeing sort of like his ex-wife still around there. And there was almost some sort of like the guy, the prisoner that they thought was the murderer that got out. It's like, you know, he's got an intriguing backstory. So, which we hear when we sort of get a flashback to him at the asylum when he's speaking to the horrible guard. We find out a bit more about him, and it's just like, wow, you know, I believe he was a murderer. He murdered his mother. His mother was the one that made him blind in one eye, and she was coming at him with a knife to take out his other eye. So he killed her, trying to protect his own sort of life. And he's been put in an asylum for it. And I'm thinking, why would he be put there? You know, if he was protecting himself, maybe he's in the wrong place. But it's all these sort of like weird little wonderful stories that keep you really gripped, and it keeps you thinking when you're watching one part of the film. Your brain is still working. But what? Hang on a minute. You're thinking, but why was he in that prison? He seemed like a genuine guy, you know, just because he's got a false eye, which looked really freaky, looked amazing. Um, it doesn't necessarily mean that, because it looks really cool, because all you saw of him was in this like little thing on the door that she opened in their front door. And that's a really strange front door to have, because the front door itself of the house was wooden with this metal grate, almost like from the asylum, because like they pushed the grates to look inside the prison cell. So it's almost felt like their house is a little bit of a prison, because it had this door with this slider thing on it. I thought all these have little added things to the story that could mean something else along the line. That's why I want to watch it again. It's one of those amazing films. Really, really cool. And I know I'm not explaining it well, but I was just so taken back by how much I enjoyed it that my brain is still frazzled by it all, and I love that. So the Oddity is a 9 out of 10, very close to a 10 out of 10, maybe on a second viewing. It was just fantastic, absolutely amazing. It's just been released, guys. It's quite cheap to buy. It's about £12. So if you get a chance, pick it up, because I think you'll like it. Really, really cool. Until then, please check out some of our horror channels. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Design, Pizzlewell. I'm iStore, Cat Watches Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House, and The Maniac. And a massive shout out to my lad. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.